Coming up on Network Africa. President of Côte d'Ivoire, Alassane Ouattara, confirms he will run for a third term in office. South Africa appoints special envoy for Zimbabwe's crisis. Plus, Africa's coronavirus cases passed the 1 million mark. Hello and welcome to the last edition of the program for the week. I'm Teniola Shoboale. We begin in Côte d'Ivoire, where President Alassane Ouattara has confirmed that he will run for a third term in office in October's general elections. Last week, the president was nominated by his party and said he would announce his decision later. He has now decided to respond favorably, as he calls it, to the call of fellow citizens. The ruling party's previous presidential nominee was Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly, but unfortunately, he died of a heart attack in July. President Ouattara's decision is likely to spark criticism as the country has a two-term presidential limit. He has previously argued that a constitutional change in 2016 reset the clock and that his first term did not count. So on politics, Guinea's ruling party has nominated President Alpha Condé to run for a third term in elections due this year. However, the president is yet to formally accept the nomination, and there is no indication of when he would respond. The president is taking advantage of a new constitution to circumvent a two-term presidential limit. There's no word from the opposition yet on this, but they are likely to criticize the nomination. There's also no date for the election. The Electoral Commission had proposed the 18th of October, but President Condé is yet to sign off on a date. Away from politics to the crisis in Zimbabwe, neighboring South Africa has appointed two special envoys to the country where a crisis is spiraling over government corruption and economic mismanagement. President Cyril Ramaphosa has sent Sydney Mufamadi and Baleke Mbete to engage the government of Zimbabwe and relevant stakeholders to identify possible ways in which South Africa can assist Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa has accused Western powers of destabilizing the country, which has been denied, and vowed to flush out his opponents. In the meantime, a protest outside the Zimbabwe High Commission in Pretoria in solidarity with the people of Zimbabwe and the situation in their country has been disrupted by the police. The police says the disruption was brought by the fact that the gathering was not in compliance with anti-COVID-19 regulations. The organizers of the protest, the #NotInMyName movement, told Channels Television that they are disappointed that the police would resort to this despite the permission they had been granted.
It is very disgusting.
They had planned a peaceful protest outside the Zimbabwean High Commission in Pretoria. The SA police was very present, which seemed usual, but then it wasn't. #NotInMyName leader Siyabulela Gentile told the gathering they were here for Zimbabweans.
We have come here today to say that the government of the day in Zimbabwe must stop with an immediate effect the atrocities and the violence that they've measured against the citizens of Zimbabwe. That is the message we have come here to deliver.
The group also criticized President Cyril Ramaphosa as the leader of a neighboring country and the AU chairperson for what they described as a delay in responding to the cries of the Zimbabwean people. The police present at this point decided the gathering should be wrapped up as it contravened anti-COVID regulations. When the people resisted, rubber bullets came flying. Some arrests were made, but nobody died.
We are protesting the injustice that is happening in Zimbabwe. Our brothers and sisters, they are being jailed for talking about corruption, the blatant corruption that is happening in the country. Belonging to an opposition party is now a criminal offense in Zimbabwe.
We want the ZANU-PF government to leave power, to leave their looting. They must stop looting. We as citizens, we are tired of them looting, and they blame it on sanctions. Sanctions are not the ones that are looting in our country. It's them.
With the constitutional disrespect, the government will take what they want from the constitution and ignore what they want. Recently, like I think 2 days ago, the vice president was appointed as Minister of Health. And now, according to Section 103 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, you're not allowed to hold another office when you're already the vice president.
As much as Zimbabweans are disgruntled by what is happening at home, I'm of the opinion that they must be able to do everything within the confines of the law of South Africa. Now, if you're going to gather people, whereas there are lockdown regulations, and let people come and group and break the lockdown regulations, I've got a problem with that.
Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed a former Speaker of Parliament, Ms. Baleka Mbete, and former Minister Sidney Mufamadi as his special envoy to Zimbabwe to mediate in the current situation. Mr. Mufamadi was part of the Mbeki-led Zimbabwe peace talks in 2007 that soon went south. There doesn't seem to be much confidence in what the envoys will achieve, but they will be setting off to Zimbabwe at a yet-to-be-announced date. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
Today, Friday, marks the end of the World Breastfeeding Week. The theme of this year, 2020, is Support Breastfeeding for a Healthier Planet. In line with this theme, the World Health Organization and UNICEF is calling on governments to protect and promote women's access to skilled breastfeeding counseling that is a critical component of breastfeeding support. Breastfeeding provides every child with the best possible start in life, delivering health, nutritional and emotional benefits to both children and mothers. The World Breastfeeding Week is a global campaign to raise awareness and galvanize action on themes related to breastfeeding. Lola Longe, founder of Child Health Advocacy Initiative, joins us on the program now to take a look at this. Thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you today. Nice having me here.
Of course. Breastfeeding, no doubt, is important to the growth of babies. What is the significance of celebrating this week and also with the theme Support Breastfeeding for a Healthier Planet?
Yeah, I'll start by saying breastfeeding is the key to good nutrition. And breastfeeding is a foundation to good nutrition, which means globally, breast milk is going to be the best for the baby. And that is why 4th to 7th of August is set aside to focus on breastfeeding, to protect, to promote and support breastfeeding. And this is done by raising awareness, informing, engaging, and inspiring everyone out there. So I believe this year there's going to be a lot to support mothers. We'll be talking to families, we'll be talking to the government, we'll be talking to employers to make sure they support breastfeeding mothers. Because a lot of them will tell you they want to breastfeed, but that support is not there. And I'm happy you mentioned, UNICEF and WHO mentioned the need to support them with counseling. Yes, a lot of them need counseling. My organization, Child Health Advocacy Initiative, we have what we call the Nutri-Moms Counseling Support Group. On a daily basis, we give them support. We have professionals, and they are also matured and mothers as well, who support them and give them counseling on breastfeeding. So counseling goes a long way in raising in supporting mothers to breastfeed properly.
Now that we've established that, Mrs. Alonge, there are some claims that are somehow discriminatory to women feeding their babies or how and where they feed their babies. How can the society, individuals, governments help establish a breastfeeding friendly environment for nursing mothers?
Yeah, like I said, they need support, and it goes a long way, starting even from the family. A lot of mothers will tell you, I want to breastfeed, but I have other children to take care of. I have a lot of housework to do. So the husband should be there to be able to provide enough food for the mother to support her with whatever work she has to do at home. And even with government as well. A lot of them have to get back to work. Many states in Nigeria still have about 3 months maternity leave. I think it's only Lagos, Cardinal State, and one other state that has 6 months maternity leave now. So that is part of what we are doing, raising awareness and advocating to government to extend maternity leave. I was in one of the TV stations recently, and then the mother spoke to me, oh, you come here to talk about breastfeeding, but I have a baby, and then my organization does not have a crutch. I want to do exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months, but I have to stop at 3 months. What is your organization doing? So we've been doing a lot of awareness campaign. We've been engaging private and public organizations in Nigeria to see how we can set up crutches or breastfeeding room so that mothers can bring their babies to work or express milk while they're at work. And with that, they'll be able to nurture the baby properly and practice exclusive breastfeeding, which is what we are campaigning. Because most times, breastfeeding is not just, are you breastfeeding your baby, but are you practicing exclusive breastfeeding, which means there's zero water, no water for 6 months. The breast milk contains all the water the baby needs. It contains 88% of water. So the baby does not need water. So if they have to do that, that means there must be an enabling environment, starting from the family, to government, to communities. Even we're looking at situations where even when they're in public places, they have a place to stay, like the airport or the park or wherever, to stay and eat. Yeah.
All right, finally, just before I let you go, I mean, in the times we're in, we can't have any discussions without mentioning the coronavirus pandemic. In these COVID-19 times, what should mothers do to protect themselves and their babies?
Yeah, it's good to know that even if a mother has COVID-19, she can still breastfeed her baby. All she needs to do is to make sure she washes her hands properly with soap. If she has to use a face mask, she can use a face mask, and then breastfeed the baby. Or if she's not even feeling too well, she can always express the milk. So even with the COVID-19, mothers can breastfeed exclusively. And then we notice a lot of them even avoiding going to health facilities because they're scared of getting the infection. But I think we shouldn't let COVID-19 be a reason to to stop all the good work that has been going on to promote maternal and child health. All they need to do is to take the right measures of. I'm sure most of those health facilities, when you get there, they take their temperature, they need to wash their hands, they need to use sanitizer. So they should please go to the health facility, get their immunization, attend antenatal class. If they have appointments or whatever, they should go there and assess the proper health need.
Those are all very important tips at this moment. Mrs. Lola Alonge, founder of Child Health Advocacy Initiative, thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa. It's been a very interesting discussion.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
To our COVID-19 coverage now, the African Union Centers for Disease and Control says a bold and aggressive action is needed as the continent passes the 1 million mark in coronavirus cases. The milestone reported by Africa's CDC and Prevention comes more than 5 months after Egypt reported the continent's first confirmed case on February 14. More than 22,000 people have so far died across Africa from the COVID-19 pandemic disease, while over 690,000 have recovered. South Africa is the hardest hit, accounting for more than half of the total number of registered infections in Africa. It's also the 5th worst hit globally. Egypt is in second place with 95,000 confirmed infections, followed by Nigeria, Ghana, Algeria, Morocco, and Kenya. Experts say a lack of comprehensive testing across Africa means the true extent of the pandemic is not known. Tanzania, for example, has not published figures for weeks, and in early July, its health minister said the virus was heading towards an end. However, more than 65% of Africa's 55 countries have reported fewer than 5,000 cases, and the CDC says it's keeping a close eye on Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia, Sudan, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Still to come on the program. How are agri-tech startups and companies thriving this COVID-19 period? We'll be having more discussions on that on our Africa Tech segment. Thanks for staying with us. Uganda, a nation of 42 million people, has recorded just over 1,200 cases and 5 deaths of the coronavirus since March, a strikingly low toll for such a large country. But with poor health facilities, critics say the success in the fight against the coronavirus is unlikely because it comes at a price.
With its crumbling public hospitals, doctor strikes and corruption scandals, few would have predicted that Uganda would be a COVID-19 success story. The nation of 42 million people has recorded just over 1,200 cases and only 5 deaths since March. Uganda closed schools and banned large gatherings 3 days before confirming its first case on March the 21st. By the end of March, most businesses were shut, vehicle movement was banned, and an overnight curfew was enforced. But critics say Uganda's success in tackling coronavirus has come at a cost.
Even if the president has allowed some people to work or to open up their businesses, for example, the garages, different workshops, the hardwares, it hasn't made that much effect, simply because most of our people use public means plus private means. So it won't be easy for them to access our services.
Some pregnant women died in labor, unable to reach hospitals because of travel restrictions. Many jobs have been lost. Opposition leaders accuse the government of using the pandemic as an excuse to restrict political gatherings and arrest opponents, charges the government denies. Although Uganda's approach has its critics, that it has been different to other African nations is not in doubt. Others didn't impose such strict measures, and those that were imposed were lifted long before infections had peaked. Public health experts say Uganda's response to COVID-19 was shaped by its experience of battling deadly infectious diseases like Ebola.
This is not the first time Uganda has created a learning experience for the world in terms of epidemic control. I told you the HIV story. Many people came here to Uganda to see how the country had contained the HIV epidemic. I told you about Ebola. Many people, we had many outbreaks of Ebola and we controlled all of them. And when this epidemic came to West Africa, many Ugandans actually were taken as experts to West Africa to help. Probably even for COVID, of course COVID, probably they will not take Ugandans. People may start to think, how do we use this Ugandan experience to help?
Uganda is now easing its lockdown, and many are pleased about it as they haven't worked in months.
Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. The agri-tech sector is one of those affected by the coronavirus pandemic as agricultural links to consumers were disrupted. Although agricultural activities were permitted during lockdowns, various state-imposed restrictions limited the activities of some farmers. We have Confidence Odionye joining us via Skype to understand how agri-tech startups and companies are thriving in this period. Mr. Confidence, thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa. Seems we're having some issues with the Skype connection. We will try and reconnect with Mr. Confidence, but in the meantime, let's take a look at some other stories. Nelson Boateng, the CEO of Neplast Eco Africa, went from making plastic bags to recycling them. The result is a brick made of sand and plastic that he hopes will one day be used to pave all Ghana's streets. To our Africa Tech segment, it seems we have Mr. Confidence, Odionye. Mr. Confidence, I hope you can hear me now. Thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa. How did the pandemic change agriculture in terms of what new challenges did the sector experience during this period? Seems we're having some issues with the connection. Technology is not always your best friend. Well, let's head back to Ghana now, where Nelson Boateng, the CEO of Neplast Eco Africa, went from making plastic bags to recycling them. Let's take a look at how he did that.
Ghanaian entrepreneur Nelson Boateng's company, Neplast, used to make plastic bags. Now it recycles them to make building materials. After his environmental U-turn, he hopes one day he will pave all the streets of his native country.
During 2015-2016, there was a threat on ban on plastics. And I was then into plastic bag manufacturing. So I have to think of a way to keep the business going by going into the bricks instead of producing polybag with plastic waste. Second is anytime they mention about flood, pollution in the environment, I feel very bad because I know I'm a big contributor. So those are the things that move me from producing a polybag to the bricks. Because with the bricks, it goes out not to pollute, but also to save the environment.
Set up in 2018, Neplast Eco Ghana Limited now employs some 74 workers and an additional 300 plastic collectors who pick up from open-air dumps, blocked waterways, and abandoned sites. The waste is weighed, washed, and crushed at the factory before being mixed with sand. 30% of the mix is plastic. It is then molded into tiles, paving, bricks, or blocks to produce eco-bricks. The company produces between 600 to 1,000 bricks a day from around 5,500 pounds of plastic, and they are also a third of the price of concrete ones. Boateng hopes, though the use of recycled building materials is still in its infancy in Ghana, that in time he can provide a sound, environmentally friendly alternative to products from established industry giants.
What I see in the future is very big, that one day this plastic waste will be turned into bricks that will be used to pave most of the roads in Ghana. They're also saving the environment from plastic waste and its implications.
He also says eco-bricks are a more practical solution than concrete, as they are lighter, stronger, more durable, mold-resistant, and they offer better insulation.
And that's the program this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Teniola Shoboale. Have a lovely weekend.